Hi everyone, this video is about an angel on his last mission on Earth but falls in love with a white ballerina who has lost her faith in people. This is a South Korean drama called Angel's Last Mission Love, or another name for Done Only Love, a touching drama from the director of Healer. In the description and at the end of the video, there will be a list of original soundtracks, don't miss it. And of course, this video without spoilers for the ending. If you like this video format, then subscribe and like it. Thank you for attention, then let's get started. The story begins with a ballerina, Yeon Seo, who loses her eyesight during a performance due to an accident. The inability to continue doing what she loves makes the girl leave the ballet. Because of this, it was hard for her, and she became callous and indifferent towards others. Yonso wants to quickly find a donor to get a cornea. After 3 years of waiting, she was unable to receive a donor cornea. Disappointed by this news, she went out with her dog for a walk. Suddenly, Dan is watching her. This guy is an angel who resides on Earth on missions to ascend to heaven. Yonso wanted to rest during the walk and sat on the bench. And the angel followed her and also sat on the bench. Suddenly, Yonso senses someone on the bench and threatens to answer who he is and why he is following her. Dan is perplexed that she feels her presence, and moreover, she can hear and touch him. But Dan managed to escape, but he left his handkerchief behind. This handkerchief is very important and is an identification handkerchief by which heaven can determine who he is. At that time, her driver Cho, who became her uncle, learns that all this time the deviation in receiving all donor corneas is all the work of her aunt. At night, an angel comes to her house to get an handkerchief, but to no avail. The next day, there was a 20th anniversary event for the fantasy ballet company, which was owned by her family, but is now run by her aunt. But the same day was the anniversary of her parents' death. At the party, Yonso realizes that everyone is looking at her with pity. On the way back, Yonso and Uncle Cho get into a car accident, and Dan witnesses it. Again, Yonso hears and feels his presence. Dan couldn't leave her dying and saves her. But this rebellious act angers his deity. Dan risks disappears like smoke, but he has one last chance. Now he is a man named Kim Dan, and he is assigning a special task that must be completed in 100 days. Meanwhile, Seung-kwan, her uncle, dies in a car accident, and he donates his cornea to her, resulting in Yonso's cornea transplant. Waking up, Yonso could see. But finds out that her uncle died and donated his cornea. However, she developed a psychological illness and she can't do what she did with her uncle. She can't walk, run, etc. Meanwhile, Dan finds out that his last assignment is to find Yonso's love. He immediately refuses, but he has no choice. Yonso needs a helper to adjust after surgery. Dan shows up for an interview and is hired as Yonso's secretary, but finds it difficult to work under the evil Yonso. But suddenly, while working, Dan has wings and he can't hide them back. During the rain, due to the strong wind, the chandelier couldn't stand it and fell on Yonso. At the same moment, Dan saves her. But she thinks Dan is just a pervert. On the same day, Ji Kang-woo came. He joins the fantasy ballet company as artistic director and wants to appoint Yonso as a lead ballerina. They are looking for the culprit of the chandelier accident, and suddenly Yonso remembers that Kang-woo was the day when the accident happened and helped her by calling an ambulance and stayed with her in the hospital. Dan is confused that Kang-woo is her destiny or not. The next day, her aunt and family wanted to see Yonso, but she becomes furious. And Dan ends up saying that she needs to appreciate her family while they are alive. But she gets even more angry, and they end up fighting. During the quarrel, Dan was fired and he was drinking. After drinking, he returned to Yonso's house and started doing all the work while drunk. But Yonso saw him and wanted to stop him, but Dan made her dance with him. And he said, "When you dance, you are the most beautiful." She didn't want to dance after all the spirits in her life, but during this dance, she had a desire to continue dancing. In the morning, Dan is arrested because Yonso reports a burglary and thinks he is a con artist and betrayed her, thinking he is a spy. She remembers and understands that they once met when she was visually impaired. She alienates everyone and fires all the workers. She feels lonely. Yonso was walking her dog and meets Dan at the place where they first met, asks him to help her walk on her own, and offers him a job. He helps her in any way he can. While they were together, they became friends. Yonso misunderstands that Dan is in love with her. Meanwhile, Dan tries to help Yonso and Kang-woo spend time together. Yonso successfully makes it to the press conference site alone and announces that she will dance and return to lead Fantasia. Dan and Yonso celebrated that she did well and can walk on her own. Yonso said "thank you" for the first time and wanted to grant his wish, and told him to close his eyes. And they kissed. What will happen to them next? What will happen to an angel who falls in love with an ordinary girl? As promised, the list of original soundtracks. If you like this video, please subscribe and like it. Thank you for attention. Have a nice day.